Hey guys, this is Daniel Bryan. Today we're working inside of Adobe Premiere once again. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves up with movie titles. So what I love about Premiere is we've worked in it before with dynamic linking. We've been able to create color correction through dynamic linking. We've been able to do lower thirds. And now I want to work on titles. And I just want to show you how easy it makes things for yourself by using Adobe Premiere and After Effects in dynamic linking in order to get a really nice effect. So basically here we've got kind of like a trailer that we want to work on, and it's just people talking, floating heads, but we really want to see something cool that kind of brings it to life, makes the production value come up just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is add a title. So first thing, we're going to go to our project window, and we're going to select all the way here at the bottom, the new item. And we're going to select black video. And black video works the best. You can use a white matte if you want to, orange matte, whatever you want to. But just know that titles is not going to carry over into Adobe After Effects. So if you make a title with text, that information from that title is not going to carry over into After Effects. I know, sad, but it just doesn't work for whatever reason. Hopefully, I'm saying this with hope. Hopefully they fix it. So let's go ahead and hit OK. And we're just going to put our black video in the space that we want our title. And now all I'm going to do is select that black video and right click on it. And we're going to replace with After Effects composition. Now After Effects just popped up, but it's going to ask you, okay, you're going to make this file, but where do you want to save the file, just in case you have to come back, or where can I reference this file from on your computer? So we're just going to save it here on the desktop. We're going to call this titles working. And as you can see here, After Effects has created that video clip, that linked video clip for us here as a composition. And it's even translated our black video, which is great. It brought it right over in the exact same time, spacing, so you don't have to go through and mess with all that stuff before you get into After Effects. So now let's go ahead and start designing our title. So let's just make something kind of cool looking. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new text, and we'll leave it in Futura Medium, and we'll call this "In a Time Where," and duplicate that. So Command D on that text layer. We needed help. We're just coming up with random words here. So in a time where we needed help. Sounds like something you'd find in a documentary, correct? I'm guessing so. So let's select both of our text layers. Now I'm going to hit our apostrophe key. And what that's basically going to do is bring up our title safe guide so that we can see the center. So if you see with our safe guide up, we've got a little crosshair here in the middle of our composition. And now we can line up our text to that crosshair. All right, great. So let's go ahead and duplicate our black video background. So I'm going to hit Command D, and we're going to create a flare on that second black video layer. We're going to select Lens Flare. And now we're just going to toggle the switch and modes, and we're going to set our blend mode to add. What that's going to do is just knock out the black areas of our lens flare. So let's move our lens flare to the very bottom of our layer. And a cool trick that I've been working with as of recent is if you actually add a light ray effect to your flare, it actually has a really nice effect. So we're going to include our light rays onto our lens flare layer. And now I'm just going to pick whip by holding Alt and clicking the stopwatch by our center light rays option. We're going to pick whip it to the center of our lens flare. And now as I manipulate the traits of the light rays, I'm getting a little bit different effect than I normally would with just a normal lens flare. Since we've pick whipped our center position from our light rays to our center position for our lens flare, we can actually move around without worrying too much where it's going to go. All right, so let's go ahead and increase the intensity a little bit. Maybe the radius, softness. We can actually bring the brightness down on the lens flare. Maybe change the lens flare. Just get something that we like. Kind of digging the 105. So let's go ahead and use the 105. We'll bring it here to the bottom of our composition. Turn up the lens flare. And now in our background layer, we're just going to go ahead and add a ramp gradient, or a gradient ramp to our background layer just to make things look a little more interesting. So instead of white, let's go ahead and go with a kind of a bluish color. And we'll move the black area down, blue layer as well. Okay, so if I want to take off, like I do right now, if I want to take off the title safe, I'm just going to press the apostrophe key once again, and that is turned off by default. All right, cool. So let's manipulate things here just a little bit more. Move the lens flare down, perhaps. And maybe increase the radius. Change from round to square. Just kind of play around until you get something that you like. Go ahead and move our lens flare up just a little. It's kind of a cool effect. But it's all to taste, right? All right, very nice. So the next thing I want to do is actually animate our text just a little bit. So this is where it makes things simple for us. So if I select our text, we're just going to actually leave it in the same place. I'm going to right click here in our composition and create a new null object. I'm going to duplicate that one time. And basically, we're going to label our null objects top and bottom text. And let's go ahead and change the label color as well so we don't get confused here. So we'll go from red to maybe yellow or aqua. Aqua sounds good. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to pick whip our top layer of text to the top null object. We're going to pick whip or parent our bottom layer of text to our bottom null object. And now what we can do is actually hop over to 15 seconds and bring up the position by hitting P for both top and bottom layers. And I'm just going to go ahead and create a keyframe. Do the same thing for the very front position of our keyframe to the top layer of text. Let's go ahead and move our top null object off of screen. And same thing for our bottom. And basically what we want it to do is meet up in the middle, which is the exact effect that we get. Let's move ahead to the end, and we're just going to make things move just a little bit more. So we came over from the from the right side of the frame for its bottom portion. So we're going to go ahead and move just a few more pixels, and same thing for the top. And then we want things to fly out here. Bloop. And same thing with the bottom. So now what you're going to get is a really weird effect here inside of this effect that we just created with our keyframes. Now everything worked normally and as it should, but the only thing that we're getting, and this is very common, especially when you're doing the text that flies by each other, to get kind of this auto Bezier effect. And what After Effects is doing is just trying to fill in the gaps with our text. It's just trying to kind of make up for things. So we want to tell it, don't make up for things. We just want to keep it linear. So we're going to select all 4 keyframes on the inside of our animation and right click on them and select keyframe interpolation. This is where we fix everything. We're just going to go here, leave it linear, spatial interpolation, which is exactly what's happening. That's kind of trying to fill things in from auto Bezier to linear. What that does is just fixes that effect. Great. So let's go ahead and add a couple of finishing touches. We're going to go ahead and select layer, new adjustment layer. We're going to create a little bit of a fast blur to kind of clean up the text. So I'll put like 0.7, 0.4. We'll add a glow as well. Kind of make everything look just a little bit more together. And all you have to do is increase your intensity, bring down the threshold just a little bit. Glow intensity. And let's go ahead and move this flare off screen just a little bit more. Okay, great. So now we've got our text, it's animating, it's flying in. Now, what do we do to make this live in Adobe Premiere? Well, I'm glad you asked. Now we have to go into our composition settings. If you don't do this next trick, it's not going to work. So let's go ahead and go into our composition settings. We're going to select the Advanced tab. And right here, you have to select Template Unlocked Text Layers Editable in Premiere Pro. Go ahead and check that and hit OK. And if you save your After Effects file, now we can hop right back into Premiere Pro. And we've got that exact animation that we just made. Now what we want to do is we want to find this linked object inside of our project window. So I can find it here because I see it pretty easy, but I know a lot of times as video editors, we can kind of get in a crunch and start throwing things everywhere. So what you can do to actually find it is if you right click on that dynamic linked file, you can reveal in project. And as you can see, it's already got it selected for me. I went ahead and selected it. So now if I duplicate by right clicking on this dynamic link file, if I duplicate it, and let's go ahead and rename it, relabel it, they were there. And we're just going to double click on our second instance, go to our effects controls, and say they were, and we'll go ahead and make it all caps. They were there. And now we're going to go ahead and drag that second instance with our effects control change into our composition. And now you can see in time of need, where we need help, they were there. We just changed the text. And it's looking pretty good, guys. All right, so the very next thing we'll do, and just for the fun of it, let's go ahead and do this, is I actually want to change our layers into 3D. We're going to create a new light. Let's make it a point light. Maybe wind things up here just a little bit. Just for the fun of it. Hit OK. And let's change the color of that light. So Command-Shift-Y. A little bit more white. There we go. Maybe change it from point to spot. So you can see we've got a little bit of fall off. And I can actually move the position of the light and get some really cool effects as well. But here for this tutorial, we'll just go ahead and leave it in the middle and leave it with a fall off. So if I press AA, and change the feather. And now in Premiere Pro, you've got a great looking effect that carries over as we save our After Effects file into all of the other project files or instances of text that we make. Well, great. Hey guys, I hope that this has helped a lot. And go out there and make some really cool looking dynamic titles. I can't wait to see them. Thanks, guys.